I think that it's a pretty fair statement that in general, it's harder to do hard things than it is to do easy ones. That's a pretty fundamental premise. But what do we do when the thing that we need to do is hard, or if it's difficult? What do we do then? Well, broadly speaking, we have two options. Option one, and this is what most people do, this is the common approach, is to summon up huge reserves of willpower and push ourselves over into the hard thing and do it anyway. And it's so difficult, but I'll do it and That's what most people do. But another thing that you could do instead is to just make the hard thing easier. And I don't mean like break it into smaller chunks or something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about taking the exact same task and through using some specific language, a specific way of thinking, turning that exact same task from something so hard and difficult and impossible into something easy, accessible, and straightforward. That sounds pretty good, right? And it is. This is a very fundamental thing that I teach to a lot of my ADHD coaching clients, generally quite early on in the journey, because for so many of us, doing things is a big deal. It's something that we really want to be doing, but also so many things seem so hard. There's often such a backlog of things that need doing, and there's the pressure, and it's all so tough, and So often in ADHD, the things that we have to do are more difficult because kind of it feels like everything's more difficult. And again, I'll characterize difficulty a little bit more, and then we'll get into a couple more principles of one or two really basic things, and then I will show you this technique. I'll show you how to use it, what it is, and really, how you can get started. So really, what I'm talking about here in terms of difficulty of anything, it's to do with the internal friction, how hard it feels to do. And that, more than anything, is what determines how much of these, willpower reserves that we need to lend to the task. If we carry some stones from here to here, that might be difficult. But if we carry some stones from here to here, thinking about how hard it is, and oh my God, and it's so unfair, and this sucks, and my feet, that's harder than just carrying the stones. And already you may be beginning to get a bit of a sense of this, but I'll press on. But the idea here is it's about decreasing this internal friction. And one of the other things that I want to characterize, final piece, and I'll stop teasing you and we'll get into it, is one of the key aspects of what makes something hard is pressure. The amount of internal pressure or pressure full stop that we feel in relation to the task directly affects how difficult it is. And in particular, when things feel more of a big deal, like, that's really important, then suddenly it feels harder and more difficult. There's more pressure. We don't want to screw it up, therefore we want to do better and try harder. Added difficulty, increased internal friction. And therein lies the key. Because the technique that I want to talk to you about is how to decrease importance. Decrease importance. And what this is all about is if we can take something that's such a big deal and make it smaller, it becomes so much easier, that exact same task. Now I'll give you an example, and you're going to feel this straight away. Oh God, I can't even say it. Okay, all right. So you watching? Oh my God. Okay, so tomorrow. Oh my God. Tomorrow morning. Tomorrow before you leave the house. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Tomorrow before you leave the house, I need you to put on your shoes. Oh. You feel that? Now this is a stupid example, but it's very illustrative. did you just feel something, a rising apprehension? Oh, what's it gonna say? And suddenly I made a task that you probably do every single day. I made it so important. Do you feel how much more tension, how much pressure, how much difficulty is added? The apprehension you possibly felt is, what's he gonna say? Now, obviously it's a dumb example, so presumably tomorrow you'll be like, yeah, we put on your shoes and go, that was a silly thing you said. But just imagine if for whatever reason you really bought into what I said. And I said, oh yeah, you gotta do this, but oh my God, you might now screw it up. You might get there and go, oh no, Jack said, okay, I've got to get this right. And was it before I leave there or after? And do I do the right foot or the left? And hang on, and the laces are one, oh my, over, under, oh my God. I can't do this, it's all too much. That's what happens when the importance is through the roof, when the importance has been increased. And what I want to teach you and explore a little further, and we're nearly there, and thank you for your patience, is how to decrease that importance, and not just with silly, dumb example things like putting on shoes, but with the things in your life that you've been really struggling with. Getting into a brand new healthy routine, getting your butt to the gym, finishing that huge project that's been looming over you, that report to write, or finally tidying the garage, who cares? Big thing, whatever it might be, it probably feels very important, and as a result is just inherently more difficult. I want you to apply this technique to those things. Already you might have a few ideas, or one in particular, I'm sure you do, of a task that you could be applying this to, and I'd love for you to just chuck it in the comments right now real quick, just so I can have an idea of what people are working with. Very interested. But coming back to this. So, we've identified big scary task, really hard because it's so important. Best way to make it easy is to decrease the importance of it. Now, how do we do that? It's very easy. When you, every day, go to put your shoes on in the morning, how much thought do you give it? Possibly not really any at all. And if you were to characterize a specific phrase that you might use to associate with how you put on your shoes, the energy or how you go about it, it would probably sound something like, oh yeah, it's just a thing I do. And that is the magic phrase that completely unlocks your ability to play with and, importantly, decrease importance. The phrase again, it's just a thing I do. Oh yeah, it's just a thing I do. Do you see how light that feels? Oh yeah, before I leave the house, I put my shoes on. It's just a thing I do. Before I jump in the shower, I take all my clothes off. It's just a thing I do. When I wake up in the morning, I go for a 10K run. It's just a thing I do. It's just a thing I do. It's a specific phrase. It's just a thing I do. The just makes it smaller. A thing I do implies it's already part of who you are. It's not a thing you're gonna begin doing. It's a thing you do. It's a thing you always do. Because it's just a thing you do. You wake up and you go straight to the gym or the pool, or you wake up and do yoga, or you go to work and you finish that project. It's just a thing you do. You make incredible, huge progress on it. It's just a thing you do. It's a Sunday, and on Sunday, you tidy the garage. It's just a thing you do. Don't underestimate the power of this. Truly, it might sound simple, but I cannot encourage you enough to apply this and say that phrase out loud to yourself, to other people. It's just a thing I do. Now, if you went and wrote something in the comments before, which I would encourage, but whatever, go back to it now and write it again. That big scary thing. Oh, new comment, reply to it. Oh, doing task blah is just a thing I do. Lock that in, make that a phrase that you're saying to yourself and seeing yourself saying, and feel the lightness of it. Feel the importance, the pressure of it decrease. Feel how much more accessible it is. Feel how you've made something hard into something easy. Super powerful stuff. I've shared this with quite a lot of my clients over the years, and frequently the ones who practice this technique religiously come back and go, oh yeah, I did this, and yeah, it's easy because it's just a thing I do. I went hiking and I returned, the car to my deadbeat whatever, and I did blah and blah, and wow, it's just a thing I do. Oh, it's so easy, it's so light. And going through your life with that light energy, I do this, yeah, it's just a thing I do. That's just a thing I do. This, that, this, I climb mountains. I'm super fit and strong. I whatever, it's just a thing I do. You get the point. Super powerful. Use this well and enjoy. And if you found this helpful and there's someone that you think might benefit from this as well, please share this around. It's powerful stuff. I'm just trying to get some incredible content out there, things that I know help people. And if you like this, you want to see more, I post a new video on a different subject every single day. So if you want to tune in and see what I have to say about something else that might help you tomorrow, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out. And as always, thank you so much for your time, your patience, if you made it this far. I deeply appreciate that. I hope this helped, and thank you again. Live well, journey well. It's just a thing I do.